what I did was I put frames 26 and 27 in place, okay? And then I jumped back here and I put this stern transom in place. And the reason I did that is because if there's any differences here between my hull lining up with my transom on either side, I could use these last two frames to make adjustments so everything lines up on both sides. So if we just kind of look down the hull and sight it down, you can see this black area here. That kind of tells me this hull is approaching this transom pretty evenly on both sides right here. And when I put this transom in here, I took a measurement from my jig up over here and right here to make sure it's level. Then what I did was I cut myself out this thing. It's just a little cardboard template, and I put the template on this side, put it against the stern post and checked it, okay, and flipped it over and did the same thing on this side against the stern post, and just made sure that this transom is an exact mirror image on either side, okay, which it is. Alright, and it's also exactly the same distance. So now I'm going to go ahead and just set 28 and 29 in place here, and let's see how things line up. I put my last two frames in. They're just setting in there, they're not glued in there. See, this is 28 here, and then this is 29. Same on this side, this is 28 and this is 29. We zoom in here, we want to make sure this little space right here is the same on either side, like that, okay? Now let's say something like this happens. See this space over here between the transom and frame 29? And when you come over here, look at the transom to 29. You see the difference between this and this? Then you know something's wrong. Either this transom is in here crooked, or as you built the hull coming back, you are out of alignment, or there's something wrong here with these last couple frames. So I did that on purpose so you could see down in here I'm just setting it up on pieces of cardboard. So if I take those out of there, the frame dropped down. So now it's not dead on exactly the same, but it's really close enough so when I sand this hull all the way down right here, it's only going to be a very slight difference, very slight. Or I could take this transom and just take it and just tweak it over. Just see that movement? It's so very slight. See it? So I could tweak it if I wanted to, or if I needed to. And I don't think I do. So I'm going to go ahead now and glue these last two frames in place, and that's going to complete the hull. This is it. We have the entire hull framed in from the bow blocks right here all the way back to the stern. Okay, and inside it's all finished except for right here, and we're going to shape those frames inside the hull here. We want to now put in our bevels, and that's right here. See, that's where this frame steps down, and steps down. A lot of model builders do these bevels before they install the frames. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to go ahead and shape the entire hull in one piece. See, here's where the bevel goes, right here. Well, I'm just going to sand this down, and it's automatically going to put that bevel in. So let's go ahead and start sanding. Okay, to sand this hull, we're going to be testing a few tools here for sanding. We have a disc sander right here. We have a little belt sander. We have this little vibrating sander, and we have this homemade disc sander from the Dremel. Now these tools, this one, and this one, have to plug into this 12-volt power supply, see? And on this, it has a control, so you can go from 1 up to 5. And here's what that does. Okay, let's see, we're on 5 for this. Okay, now we can take it and go all the way down to 1. You hear it? That's a 1 setting. That's 5 setting. So this is a Dremel. It just plugs right into your wall. It doesn't have to go into this 12-volt power supply. So okay, let's go ahead and test each one of these tools. Oh, and I forgot one, the really high-tech one. A block of wood with sandpaper with 2-sided tape stuck to it. And okay, the first thing we want to test is this little vibrating sander. There's a little button here, and first thing we're going to test it on is a flat surface. Okay. Alright, it works pretty good. Yeah, it's sanding it nice. Now I'm going to bear down on it to see if I can stall it. Not really. I'm pushing down pretty hard. And it's still going strong. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, let's test it on the hull. Okay. Here's what happens. If it's an irregular surface, this thing comes off. Like that. Okay. Now let's stick it back on there and try it again. Yep, pops right off again. You see, it's held on by these little tabs right here and these little rubber mounts, which are right here. And then it has this little shaft that fits into this hole. So, as soon as you're on an irregular surface, it pops it right out of these little rubber mounts. Watch. See? Pops it right off. But if you're on a flat surface, like so, it works just fine. So this will not work on any kind of irregular surface like the shape of a hull, because as soon as it's not held flat, it pops it off. So that's it for this one. No good for sanding a hull. Okay, our next tool for testing is a belt sander. And here, if you can notice, see that little screw right there? Okay, you turn that one way or the other, and that's for tracking this belt. See, right now I got it tracking. Okay, now on a flat surface, let's zoom in. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's its problem. You can only go so very lightly. Because as soon as you put any pressure, it just stops it. So this just does not have the grip or the power to do anything with it. Okay, the next tool is this disc sander. Now this thing has 80 grit paper on it. This one had 150 and this one had 100. So let's see what 80 grit does to this, starting with a flat surface. Okay, that really works well. You can't even stall it. Okay, that one you can't stall it with an 80 grit paper on it. And see, I've ground right into that, right here. See how I did that? How quickly? Okay, so this really works well. Now, let's try it on a irregular shaped surface. Alright, we're going to carve away at this edge right here. Can you see it? Right there. We're going to put a bevel in there and see this right here. Let's see how quick that goes down. Alright, here we go. Oh yeah. That works really well. Okay, this tool, not bad, not bad. And see, I ground that right down within a minute. So, this is a pretty good tool, but it's also 150 bucks. So, what's our, oh, we got this tool now. Okay, this is the homemade Dremel. Now this has, actually it's the homemade disc sander on a Dremel. This has 150 grit. Let's see how this works. Okay, let's get enough cord here. Alright, got it. Oh, let's try this. More speed. Alright, this works beautifully. You're not going to stall this. And like I said, this is 150 grit. You put 80 grit on this thing and it'll grind that right down. Okay? So 150 grit. Excuse me, it's the dust. 150 grit. Took that down quite nicely. Okay? Like I say, you put 80 on that and that'll make short work of grinding this hull down to shape. So that's it with the sanders. Let's do a recap. This one, this is only good for a perfectly flat surface because this comes off too easy on any irregular surface. This one, very light work. It'll stall. But I suppose if you put a very coarse belt on this thing, it would grind away and not bad. This one was the best of the lot. You can't even stall that. And with 80 grit, there was no problem. This works just as well as that. And there's a big difference in price. 150. And I don't know what a Dremel goes for these days, but I bought this one in the garage sale for $5. So let's go ahead then and sand the hull of our caustic.